The technique is now shown in slow motion. Technique 4. Press elbow, lock wrist. This technique is called press elbow, lock wrist. You first react when your opponent grabs your wrist. First, raise your right elbow. From this position, I can move forward and use an elbow strike to stun or slow the opponent. Targets can include the chest, heart, sternum, throat, collarbone, neck, side of the head, chin, or face. At the same time, you want to twist your arm back into a neutral position. Quickly turn your palm around to grab his wrist, while bringing the left hand up for further control. I step forward and turn left at 45 degrees, while lowering my body weight. The opponent's right wrist or grabbing hand is the essential leverage of this technique. While controlling the wrist with two hands, lowering my body weight, and shifting 45 degrees, the wrist china forces my opponent to follow the lock or have his wrist snapped. I direct my opponent to the ground and press my right knee against the elbow. The leverage on the elbow is now very secure and the opponent is controlled. I can easily twist the arm and snap it. I can also strike at the neck, temple, and face. All these things together make for a very effective technique. In this technique, Master Wong applies several different pressures and applications to my body. In the first position, I'm exerting force down on his arm, trying to control him. He cuts my power by moving my arm away from my body, and then he shifts it back up and turns it into a wrist lock, and then drives that pressure and force down, twisting my body. It follows my wrist down to the ground. And then he applies the knee onto the nerve in the arm at the same time. As he's coming over, he can apply the elbow strikes to the face, the neck, the chest, the shoulder in different applications. But ultimately, you end up quickly on the ground and your body follows your arm down. The technique is now shown in slow motion. Technique 5. Coil arm, lock shoulder, number 1. This is a very effective china technique. It can be used to break an opponent's grip anywhere on your arm. When using this coiling movement, your body must expand. First, turn your palm, rotating your wrist, and expand the right arm forward. Continue coiling your hand both around and up the arm. Your right hand finishes under the armpit and on top of the opponent's shoulder. Then move forward and quickly place your left hand on top of your right hand. Once both hands are in place on top of the shoulder, press down and forward, turning, shifting your body, and taking steps as you move. It is important to maintain your balance and not be countered while applying this technique. Press your right knee against the back of your opponent's arm, turn your upper body to the left, and pull in your hands to snap his arm. Both pulling the shoulder and pushing out the upper body must be accomplished at the same time to apply proper leverage.
This is another good way of using the whole body to lock the body, lock the arm, and to be thrown down and being locked again. Great spiraling technique, very fast to pass the power. If the fajings are used on the way down, things will be broken on the descending way down. Great use of the whole body.
The technique is now shown in slow motion. Technique 6. Coil arm, lock shoulder number 2. This Na technique is called coil arm, lock shoulder number 2, and it is a very effective technique. The important part is to turn your right palm up and step when your opponent grabs your wrist. This technique involves the use of passing power. After your palm comes up, you then turn your palm down while coiling around your opponent's arm and pressing on his back. This is a coiling snake-like movement. My left hand grabs his wrist and provides leverage and torque, so both hands are involved. My body turns and provides directional rotation and off-balances my opponent. While rotating the arm around and pressing on the back, push the opponent to the ground and place both hands on his right hand, pressing forward. At the same time that you step forward and rotate the arm, press your right knee against the back of the arm and your left knee is bent and pushing against his ribs. Put a lot of weight forward and press down. Pushing more weight forward can snap the opponent's arm. More weight on just his hand will break that. Depending on the amount of rotation on the arm and downward pressure, the opponent can also be flipped and broken in the air. It is not possible to show this without hurting the student opponent. In this application, Master Wong uses my arm. As I grab his hand, he changes the elevation. He snakes around my arm, locks it, moves it away from his body, and then he raises it up behind me, lowering my shoulders and dropping my center, and then drives me down to the floor. The whole arm is locked through the shoulder, and it's up locked behind me. My face is forced into the ground. He can snap the arm through a spiral. He can apply pressure back and over the top, dislocating the shoulder, and at the same time, his shin is on my ribs, also applying pressure and moving my air out.